Welcome to Eurofootball Daily, where today we're taking a look at 10 footballers who overcame adversity to return to the very top of the game. Let's get into it. 10. Mario Gertz. It could be suggested that Mario Gertz actually reached the pinnacle of his career almost a decade ago. After all, it doesn't get much bigger than scoring the winning goal in a World Cup final, something he managed as a 22-year-old in 2014, finding the net in extra time as Germany defeated Argentina to claim their 4th title on international football's biggest stage. So you might consider his story as one of unfulfilled potential, but there's a lot more to it than meets the eye. Upon his return to Borussia Dortmund from Bayern Munich in 2016, the midfielder was diagnosed with myopathy, a disease that affects the muscles, threatening to bring a premature end to the then 24-year-old's burgeoning career. Gertz spent 6 months with the metabolic illness and truly struggled to regain his form at BVB, where he featured for just over 500 minutes in his final campaign in 2019-20. However, upon his switch to PSV Eindhoven the subsequent season, he rediscovered his abilities, with 19 Eredivisie goal contributions in 2 years, before a return to the Bundesliga and Champions League with Eintracht Frankfurt. Now 30, Gertz has finally made it back to the highest level. 9. Arjen Robben. Whilst he'll undoubtedly be remembered as one of the 21st century's great wingers, Arjen Robben's career almost came to a screeching halt just as quickly as he exploded onto the scene. Aged just 20, coming off almost 4 seasons at the professional level with Groningen and then PSV in his native Netherlands, he came to global attention when the newly rich Chelsea paid €18 million for his services in 2004. However, he wouldn't make his debut until midway through the ensuing campaign, mainly due to a broken foot, but something more serious emerged for Robben during his time out. Robben approached club doctors regarding a small growth on one of his testicles, resulting in an emergency operation amid the risk of a cancer diagnosis. The player himself has since spoken of the terrible wait for results, and how football was no longer important. Fortunately for the future Real Madrid and Bayern Munich star, he was given the all-clear 3 months later, allowing him to get back onto the pitch, earning himself 25 trophies in the process and providing the fans with seemingly endless archive of highlight reel moments. 8. Luke Shaw. Always touted as a potential world beater and now England's undisputed first choice at left back, Manchester United's Luke Shaw could be seen as having the career that many expected him to. But in 2015, shortly after turning 20, the Southampton Academy graduate suffered an injury that had him fearing much more than the future of his career. Shaw suffered both a broken fibula and tibia after a challenge by PSV's Hector Moreno that led to a 9-minute in-game stoppage. Whilst most of the talk about injuries like this is how long it takes to recover, which for Shaw was 6 months until he was training and 11 until his next competitive appearance, the real fear at the time was a lot worse. There was a worry that if Shaw flew back to England with this complex injury, it could have resulted in an amputation, leading him to spending a week in hospital before finally being allowed to make the journey home. After suffering with his form for a couple of years afterwards, Shaw has now established himself as one of the best in the country in his position, something few would have predicted after that terrible night in Eindhoven. 7. Antonio Cassano. Football loves an unorthodox character, and at least in the 21st century, few have caught the imagination more than Antonio Cassano. The attacker was both immensely talented, yet somewhat unhinged away from the pitch, notoriously unashamed of his playboy lifestyle that came to a head during an unsuccessful stint with Real Madrid between 2006 and 2008. But despite disillusioning a number of former teammates and coaches, not least Fabio Capello, the community pulled together in 2011 when a then 29-year-old Cassano suffered a stroke as his AC Milan side travelled home from a fixture against former club Roma. Within a week, the Italian international had undergone minor heart surgery. 6 months later, Cassano was back in the game, and whilst his time with Milan would come to an end, he remained in Serie A for 4 more seasons, first with Inter before stints with Parma and Sampdoria. With Parma aged 31, he'd even record his second best league return with 12 goals to his name, as well as adding a further 11 caps to his Azzurri record. That included featuring in every Euro 2012 match, less than a year after the incident. 6. Eric Abidal. The story of Eric Abidal may be well told, but it's one worth revisiting. The French international played for Monaco, Lille and Lyon before a move of a lifetime to Barcelona. However, the defender had to put his career on hold in March 2011, aged 31, when the club announced that a tumour had been found on Abidal's liver, resulting in surgery. Remarkably, not even 7 weeks later, he was back, and would play all 90 minutes as the Blaugrana defeated Manchester United in the Champions League final, even handed the captain's armband by Puyol to become the one to lift the trophy. But Abidal's issues wouldn't end there, as a year to the day after his first diagnosis, it was revealed that he would need a transplant. After declining Dani Alves' offer to donate part of his liver, Abidal eventually found a donor, didn't train for 9 months but did reappear for Barcelona in April 2013. His career may not have lasted 2 more years from here, retiring in 2014 after stints with Monaco and Olympiacos, but just to get back to the top level after a transplant is something quite extraordinary. 5. David Brooks. 2017-18 was a breakout season for David Brooks. Whilst his side Sheffield United might have finished 10th in the Championship, his 3 goals and 5 assists proved enough to tempt Bournemouth into spending £11.5 million to bring him to the Vitality. To say that Brooks took to the Premier League with ease would be an understatement, with his 12 goal contribution seeing him nominated for PFA Young Player of the Year alongside the likes of Sterling, Bernardo Silva and Rashford. His luck since then though has been abysmal. He missed virtually the entirety of the 2019-20 campaign with an ankle injury before being diagnosed with stage 2 Hodgkin lymphoma, a type of blood cancer, in October 2021. In May 2022, the football world rejoiced though as Brooks took to social media to announce he was now cancer-free. But a succession of hamstring and fitness issues has stopped him from playing so far this season. Still only 25, we hope the 21-capped Welsh international can have the career his talent deserves. 4. Santi Cazorla. Loved by fans of every club he's represented for his talent, versatility and sheer technical excellence, watching Santi Cazorla play football was pure joy. A man capable of winning 81 caps in a golden era of Spanish midfielders, winning 2 Euros and being named Spain's Player of the Year as a 23-year-old, but he instantly excelled, contributing 23 league goals in his debut season, a figure only topped by Van Persie, Suarez, Bale and Mata in the Premier League. The Gooners might have never got close to challenging for a title during his time in North London, finishing an average of 17 points behind the champions each season, but by the end of his spell, Cazorla was barely able to contribute. An Achilles tendon issue sustained in a Champions League fixture against Ludogorets Razgrad in October 2016 ended up requiring 8 operations to fix, during which he contracted gangrene, which doctors feared might cause him to lose his leg. A skin graft and a course of antibiotics saved his limb, and after just 2 years out, he returned with former club Villarreal and managed to make 86 appearances across 2 seasons before joining Al Sadd in Qatar. It's truly a remarkable turnaround. 3. Petr Cech. The 14th of October 2006 will be a day forever etched into Chelsea fans' memories. A minute into the game away at Reading, Petr Cech ran out to collect a ball and Stephen Hunt's knee collided with the Czech international's head. After a long delay, Cech was stretchered off and rushed to surgery to have treatment on a depressed skull fracture. It has subsequently been revealed that the injury almost cost the shot stopper his life, yet remarkably, the former Rennes man was able to return to first-team action just over 4 months later, and although they lost his comeback game against Liverpool, he subsequently went over 13 hours without conceding a goal. Only 24 at the time of the incident, Cech went on to win multiple Premier League, FA Cup and League Cup trophies with Chelsea, as well as the Champions League and Europa League before departing for Arsenal, making a further 110 Premier League appearances. If you need more proof of his class, he finished with 32 more clean sheets than anyone else in the competition's history. 2. Christian Eriksen. It's remarkable to think that not even 2 years has passed since Christian Eriksen collapsed on the pitch during Denmark's clash with Finland at Euro 2020. It was later revealed that the diminutive creator had suffered a cardiac arrest, and were it not for a defibrillator being on hand, it could have been much worse. Fabrice Muamba was forced to retire in similar circumstances, whilst Ajax's Abdel Nouri suffered permanent brain damage. Amidst these situations, for Eriksen to be representing a club of the stature of Manchester United under 2 years later is nothing short of a miracle. The fact he was able to return at Brentford and contribute 5 goals in 11 games to help them finish a commendable 13th before showing the sort of quality he has at Old Trafford is a testament to his mentality and enduring ability. Despite having missed the last 4 Premier League games with injury, Eriksen's 7 assists have only been topped by Kevin De Bruyne and Bukayo Saka. Remarkable given the fact he's playing in a deeper role under Ten Hag. Help United finish 4th and his hero status on the red side of Manchester will be secured. 1. Sebastian Haller. The 2021-22 campaign couldn't have gone much better for Sebastian Haller, with the 15-capped Cote d'Ivoire international scoring an incredible 34 goals in 43 games for Erik ten Hag's Ajax as they won their 36th Eredivisie title. That included an incredible 10-6 Champions League group games, and although their campaign ended with a 3-2 defeat to Benfica in the last 16, Haller had managed to rebuild his reputation after a challenging spell at West Ham and was chosen by Borussia Dortmund to replace Erling Haaland, moving to Germany for a €31 million fee on the 6th of July 2022. However, just 12 days later, disaster struck as the former Eintracht Frankfurt striker was forced to pull out of their pre-season training camp after he was diagnosed with a malignant testicle tumour. For a man who had looked so sharp the season prior, this was an enormous shock. But thankfully he was able to return after undergoing 2 surgeries and 4 rounds of chemotherapy. After featuring in some post-World Cup warm-up games, Haller made his full Dortmund debut against Augsburg on the 22nd of January and has subsequently scored and assisted for the club. His return has given BVB a massive boost in their bid for a first Bundesliga title in 11 years, and what a story that would be. So that was our look at 10 stars who overcame the odds, but what do you make of our list? Let us know in the comments down below. Like the video, subscribe to EuroFootball Daily if you haven't already, and we'll see you next time. Bye bye.